teens becoming global sensations overnight, to accusations against legends like the Beatles and David Bowie, these are the most successful industry plants.
Have you ever noticed how some artists just seem to pop up out of nowhere? One day you've never heard of them, and the next, their face is everywhere. In magazines, radios, and even TV shows. It's kind of like they had a secret backstage pass to fame. That's where this whole industry plant label comes in. Back in the 2010s, people on hip-hop forums started using the term, pointing fingers at artists like Lizzo and Travis Scott. So, what's an industry plant? Well, in simple terms, it's like an artist who's been secretly polished and prepared for stardom by big record labels. On the outside, their journey looks like a natural rise to fame. But behind the scenes, there's a whole machine working to make them the next big thing. It's kind of like being groomed for the spotlight while the audience is kept in the dark. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting help or having connections, but where people take issue is the perceived lack of authenticity. True indie artists, those who've hustled from the ground up, might see these plants as having an unfair advantage, as if they're getting the VIP treatment without putting in the real work. It all boils down to trust. Music fans want to believe in genuine talent, not some manufactured success story. And if they feel like they're being fooled, well, that's where the backlash starts. New Zealand-born artist Lorde is frequently accused of being an industry plant. She just seemed to burst onto the scene out of nowhere with her track Royals. But when you dig a little deeper, you find there is more to the story. A lot of folks are taken back when they find out she was already signed to Universal Music Group when her EP dropped on SoundCloud. Now, for many indie artists, getting 60,000 downloads out of the blue would be a dream. But Lorde had a major label behind her. So people started wondering, was her rise really as grassroots as it seemed? It felt like she was painted as this underdog, an outsider who made it big against all odds. But with Universal in her corner, was it really such a surprise? Now don't get me wrong, none of this takes away from Lorde's immense talent. The girl can write and sing, no doubt about it. But it does make you wonder if she would have been able to get this far without having a strong background from the get-go. The whole idea behind the industry plant tag is kind of fascinating. You've got these up-and-coming artists making waves on platforms like SoundCloud and Bandcamp, and then suddenly, they're on the world stage, often before they even seem ready for it. It's like they just won the music lottery or something. But did they? Take Chance the Rapper, for instance. He was just doing his thing, building a following from the ground up, and then, almost overnight, everyone was talking about him. But then, as fast as the accusations came, they vanished. Funny how that works. Then there's Billie Eilish. When you think of artists who got the industry plant label, Billie Eilish's name probably tops the list. I mean, here's a girl, super young, drops a track that sounds eerily similar to something Lana Del Rey would sing. And boom, she's the next big thing. Add in the fact that her family's all Hollywood, and suddenly the rumor mill's working overtime. And sure, having Phineas, her uber-talented brother, as her main songwriter could be viewed in two ways: a family's genuine collective talent, or a strategic play by the record label to ensure that Billie's brand appeared organic and homegrown. There are other popular artists who have been accused of being industry plants for the last couple of years. You've got your Lizzos, your Drakes, your Lil Nas X's, and yes, the fresh talent like Olivia Rodrigo. These folks burst onto the scene, and before you know it, they're everywhere, topping charts, stealing headlines, and dominating our playlists. Some critics and fans start whispering, hinting that they might have had a little help along the way. What's the underlying sentiment? These artists didn't pay their dues. But what really counts as paying your dues anyway? The problem isn't with the term industry plant, it's with the blurred lines of the music industry itself. For every fan yelling industry plant at Claro, just because of her dad's industry ties, there's another person defending her, saying she deserves every bit of her fame. And yes, her dad knew someone at Fader, but come on. Pretty Girl was a bop. We can't take that away from her. She even said it herself. She's aware of her privilege, but that doesn't mean her art isn't genuine. Another artist on the rise is Gracie Abrams, who is opening for Taylor Swift at 30 different shows for her Eras tour. She also opened for Olivia Rodrigo at Rodrigo's Sour Tour 14 times. But after this rise in popularity, her connections in the industry were soon in the spotlight. Well, turns out her father is J.J. Abrams, yep, the director of Star Wars. But don't think that the industry plant is a new term. Take Jennifer Lopez, for instance. She's been a prominent figure in pop culture for over 2 decades, enjoying massive success in both music and film. The accolades and admiration she receives for her magnetic stage presence and performances are well earned. However, her journey wasn't without its share of controversies. Over the years, there have been whispers about the legitimacy of J.Lo's musical talents. She's faced criticism for her vocal capabilities and has even been accused of using ghost singers on her albums. For instance, there's been significant talk around her hit, All I Have. Many believe that J.Lo sang only a minor portion of the track, which added fuel to the existing rumors. Plus, speculations have swirled that music executives might have leveraged her music career to indirectly target other artists like Mariah Carey. When the Beatles first burst onto the scene, they were indeed propelled by a considerable promotional push by their record label Parlophone. Their catchy tunes about love and youth resonated with the teenage demographic, making them easily marketable. The heavy promotion in the US, with the famous "The Beatles Are Coming" campaign, played a pivotal role in setting up their landmark appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show in 1964. Their charm, style, and unique sound made Beatlemania spread like wildfire. To some purists and cynics, the Beatles' rapid ascent might have smacked of industry orchestration, similar to what we'd label as industry plant behavior today. David Bowie would also certainly fall victim of this pointless finger-wagging if he was a rising star today. Like many artists, Bowie's quest wasn't just about personal expression, but about making a significant impact on the cultural landscape. This drive led him to explore various personas and artistic mediums until he found the right combination that resonated with the audience. Bowie experimented and had a lot of false starts in his early career. He was a mod, a folk singer, and even a mime. At last, the androgynous glam rock legend who made his breakthrough with albums like Ziggy Stardust and Space Oddity. It is not a reflection on him that he partnered with industry veteran Tony Visconti. Artists frequently collaborate with business insiders to hone and promote their talent. Bowie's natural talent paired with Visconti's production skills produced some of the most influential music of the 20th century. The point regarding Bowie's prior experience in the industry as a songwriter is especially important. Bowie was hustling, trying to find his niche, and picking up the nuances of the business before he became well known. It is evidence of his tenacity and commitment to his work. It is a little narrow-minded to think that an artist should not use contacts or prior experiences to advance their career. Most artists, regardless of their industry, build on prior relationships and experiences to advance. This brings us to the big question. Does it matter if an artist's backstory isn't as grassroots as we'd like to believe? The answer isn't straightforward. The concept of authenticity is especially challenging in the modern era. We live in a world where personal branding is paramount, and artists often craft a narrative around their work, sometimes blurring the lines between reality and storytelling. But does this crafted narrative make their music less genuine? Not necessarily. It's all part of the art and the image. For many fans, learning about an artist's true background might not diminish their love for the music, but rather provide a more nuanced understanding of the artist's journey. There's also a need to acknowledge the industry's machinery. Labels, producers, and managers play crucial roles in shaping an artist's image and sound. They have an interest in creating success stories and will often employ every tool at their disposal, from marketing strategies to leveraging connections. That's their job. However, there is value in the public demanding transparency and fair practices in the industry. It ensures a level playing field for artists and protects the rights and contributions of those involved in the creative process. So, from accusations against legends like the Beatles and David Bowie, to internet teens becoming global sensations overnight, these were the most successful industry plants.